Hello again, and welcome back to Jarl's Favour Dev Log number 4. Let's get into it. There's a bit to talk about. I've achieved a little bit over the last few days, starting with beginning to tidy up my player blueprint here. Just starting to go some colour coding. The yellow here is for the floating lamp the character has, which I spoke about in the last devlog. Nothing else has really changed here, except for this comment. I don't know what that's doing there. Get rid of that bad boy. So that's all the same. I just put it in yellow. This red up here, this is all new. I've begun to add some damage. So let's talk about that really quickly. So I've got a health system in place, very similar to the stamina system I built in the last episode. This is essentially what happens when the player takes any damage. It updates their health bar here. So on taking damage, are they dead? If they're dead, something else is going to happen, which will be a respawn system that I haven't built yet. And yeah, minus whatever health it was. Update the HUD. So let's look at the character taking some damage. So this is falling. So I've got 4 variants of falling. I need to tweak this a little bit. It's a little too brutal at the moment. I want the character to be able to jump or fall a little bit further than they can, but it's all working quite well. So it starts once they jump, when they've landed, do they have slow falling? I've added this variable because I will have some magical items or clothing or something that allows the player to take less damage when they fall later in the game, just to help them feel like they're advancing and to explore a little easier. But they don't start the game with that. So if they don't have slow falling, which is false, then we go up to here, we apply the damage, temporary damage, which comes from the distance or the time they spend falling, and then we reset the temp damage back to 0. Now I've got some variables here that will be replaced, some string, that will be replaced with sound cues once I get some voice acting going. But essentially, if it's a small fall, if they then they'll have 5 damage done. If it's a medium fall, they'll have 20 damage done. If it's a big fall, they'll have 40. And a huge fall will be 100. The character's maximum health is 100, but remembering that they may have items that increase this, or if they have this slow falling, what that does is decreases the damage by 1.5 times. So at 100, the damage will be 66. Meaning they could do quite a large fall. However, I have accounted for this down here, where I have another section, which this one covers as well. It's anything under 100, so if it's over 100, they will scream. The largest and longest fall will do 200 damage, which will outright kill them. So they'll always be able to die from falling. It just depends on how long they fall for. So this is a time-based system. That depending, if they spend 1 second falling, 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, 2 seconds falling will be 200 damage. I'll extend the times of these a little bit. There's going to be some play testing. That's the damage section. There's more damage. Let's move to where this occurs. More harm to the player's health, and this is another system that I hinted at I was going to build in the last episode, which is weather or temperature. So I've got ultra dynamic weather telling me what the temperature is in Celsius, because that's what I use along with the rest of the world, besides a particular country. And here we go. Similar to the falling, I've got various degrees of it. I've got deadly, freezing, very cold, cold, chilly, cool, and comfortable. So what happens is every 2 seconds we check the temperature in the game. We grab it from ultra dynamic weather and we tell the character what's going to happen if they're one of these particular situation. So the coldest, the -12 Celsius, is called deadly. What happens here is it applies damage every 2 seconds. It applies 0.2 damage. It might not seem like a lot, but it's enough. You want to get out of the cold. It gives you a little bit of time to find some warmth or get a fire started, but it does tick over fast enough. It also, so that's the health, messes with your hunger. So I've put a hunger system in. I'll show you that soon. So that occurs at the same rate as health, being every 2 seconds, or everything on this function occurs every 2 seconds. So the hunger is -0.5 every 2 seconds. That is actually fairly, you want to pay attention to it. Again, it seems like a small number, but it ticks over fast enough and you might already be hungry. So hunger decreases naturally over time, but these other factors such as cold, as well as using stamina, decrease hunger as well. So you chew through your hunger quite quickly if you're in freezing territory and sprinting everywhere. Deadly also affects stamina at the same rate as hunger. So your stamina will decrease if you're in the cold, even if you're standing still doing nothing. Essentially, when it's deadly cold, you want to sort the situation out, get some warmth, or get out of that area. And every following effect acts in a similar way, just in decreasing numbers. So in freezing territory, it's essentially halved. Half the amount of damage is done than deadly. It's still enough to pay attention to. It still affects your hunger and it still affects your stamina, but at, again, half the rate, or a little bit less than half than previously. Then we move to very cold, which is, very cold is 3 degrees Celsius and below. This one does not affect health, only hunger and stamina. However, once you become starving, that is, your hunger is 0 and continues to decrease, that will switch over to affecting your health. So your health will go down if you let your hunger reach 0. Then we have cold, which only affects hunger. And the other 3, chilly, cool, and comfortable, have no effect at the moment, and they may remain that way, but I've got them there for options, basically. So that's the temperature system. It works quite well. Just needs, again, some tweaking, so I get the game flow right, and it's not too harsh, too fast. And the temperatures in the game are a little bit too cold at the moment, so I'll change those as well. Moving up, I've got a punch system as rudimentary at the moment, but it is working. I haven't put enhanced input in at the moment, but it's just a left mouse button and purely punching. So are they unarmed? If they're not unarmed, if they have a weapon, it'll move into another system, being whatever weapon they're using. Are they punching? If they're already punching, then the punch function won't occur, so they're not punching. Let's see what they're doing. 1 punch drains 5 stamina. That's I think that seems to work fine now. Again, all of these variables will change over time. Then I set that these flags that they are punching and they are fighting, just to mean they can't punch again until this entire function is completed. I've got an animation montage, temporary animations at the moment. I'll hunt or create some better looking animations in the future, but that's fine. They're all working. In here I have 4 different punch variations that will randomly play each time the player punches. Then, sorry, this isn't the draining stamina. This checks that they have 5 or more stamina, otherwise they can't punch. This is where the stamina drains, which is 5. So they can't punch if they only have less than 5 stamina. They can't punch. They need to wait for more stamina, because 1 punch drains 5 stamina. And then updates the stamina UI and does a sphere trace. You'll see this because I've got the debug turned on, and I'll probably up the radius of the trace. This is the area that, when they punch, will be hit essentially in front of the player, and that's what this is doing. Gets the player's capsule component, checks in front of them, and draws the area that the trace will occur. When the trace hits an object, it hits the actor that we're punching and damages them. Currently for 100, this will be a random variable that can be affected by other things, maybe potions and strength potions or something. Currently I've just put it 100 because my animals have 100 health and I want to make sure it works. So you can go punch an animal once and it'll keel over. This branch can be deleted, and then I turn those flags off. So that's my fighting system in its very basic form at the moment. It does work though, so that's cool. I enjoy coming up with these systems from scratch. Sprinting, we've seen that. Running, I think that might be the only stuff I put in. Oh no, hunger of course. So we saw stamina last time and the fading. The fade occurs to health and hunger now. So our stamina, health and hunger bars will fade in and fade out when they're in use or not in use, just to keep clutter off the screen. So now we have stamina bar, then we move over to health bar, which does the same thing that stamina does, fade in, updates the HUD, then we move it to hunger, and it does the same thing as well. The hunger bar will only show at 66%, so you'll lose 34 hunger before you see the bar fade in, just because hunger is very slow to tick over, which we'll have a look at soon, and you don't need it on your screen until you might need to think about being hungry. So I'll call that you are now peckish, essentially. So I've got 3 bars occurring now. That's those bit: hunger, stamina, health. They will, of course, be stylized, but they're functional for the time being. Hunger is a little brown. Here we go. This is hunger, hunger drain. So this occurs every 30 seconds. We lose 1 hunger. If our current hunger is below 1, we're starving. And this, this is the 1 hunger, this is 1 health. We begin to lose 1 health every 30 seconds until we get out of the starving state. So food plays a life-saving role in that regard. If they're not starving, then every 30 seconds we minus 1 hunger. They have 100 hunger. So if we do some maths here, 100 multiplied by 30 seconds, 3,000 seconds divided by 60. So it takes 50 minutes of playtime to reach starving. Again, this figure might be tweaked. That's fairly long, but it's also reasonably fair, I think. I'll just time it around what I end up setting the day-night cycle to be in real time, in real minutes. So it takes 50 minutes to reach a starving state. That's reasonably fair. Then we update the hunger UI. If they're starving, I've just got a print string at the moment that'll be voice acting or some other indicator, stomach grumbling, to let them know. This one is just showing the current hunger. I can get rid of that. That was for debugging when developing the function, but I'll keep it there for the time being. Sprinting, we've seen that. That's about it, I think. All the new things. So it's basically mostly health, hunger, and damage. Blueprint-wise, there's been a few other things that I've done. I've messed with behavior trees. This is my first attempt at a behavior tree. It works fine, extremely basic. Just telling a sprite, a glowing ball of light, to just move around the place. And that's it. So this is the blueprint for that. Just to randomly move across the nav mesh, fairly large radius, and it moves quite fast. So let's have a look at the sprite. Let's jump into the game and see all these things in action. Okay, we're in. So first thing we'll do, you just saw a punch there because I clicked my mouse, is we'll get rid of the snow because I have also messed with the rain and the landscape a little bit. So let's clear the skies, let the snow melt. I've also added picking up mushrooms, but before everything runs away, let's punch a deer. Sorry dear, we can catch it. So I have to sprint, punch, and the deer can now be harvested. I haven't added that yet, but that's the fighting system, the extreme basics of it working right now. Or the hunting system, if you want to call it that. Of course, I'll make deer stronger. One punch shouldn't knock one clean out. So when I punch, you see this sphere trace here. That is, anything within that sphere is going to be hurt. I might move it forward because I don't want anyone behind the character to be affected. Now I've got some mushrooms around here somewhere. You might notice the ground is looking quite wet, so I've fixed that up. I had made a mistake on my landscape material. Let's put some rain in the sky. It's also not as flat looking as it used to be. So essentially I had a flag called fully rough on my landscape material, which also makes it fully flat. So there's a little bit of roughness back. It looks much better, and now water puddles form on it properly, as we can see here. So I've got water puddles and just wetness everywhere. It's looking way better than it was when it rained. So I fixed that up. Now let's find some mushrooms. Okay, yeah, mushrooms first. I'm getting sidetracked with all the things I've added. Just have to hunt these bloody mushrooms down. I always forget where I put them. Easy way to find them is to make it dark. Because there's one that glows in the dark. Turn the light off. And I still can't see it. Well, we'll come back to the mushroom because I want to show you the sprite here. So this is that behavior tree that I created. It's just a sprite, it's just a fantasy ball of light, essentially. If we're going on mythology. And it moves very fast. There will be a quest in the game where you need to catch one of these buggers, which can be done. But I think it's cool, that's a good little function. Using up all my stamina, so you can see my health bar down there has been depleted a little bit. That's one because of the weather in the top left. We can see freezing in -9 degrees Celsius, so that will be affecting my health. I don't have fireplaces adding warmth yet, that'll be coming soon. Turn some light back on. That's our sprite again. Lighting up our puddles. Looks cool. And there'll be a few of those roaming through the forest, maybe of different colours. Add a bit of mysticism. Okay. Now we were looking for a mushroom. There we go. Now we'll see here I've added some more mushrooms. You can see them better in first person with a little E over the top. So I've got an interaction system happening. If I hold down E, I pick the mushrooms up. That is the core of the game. Of course it's going to be more complicated and rewarding than that, but that is the core of the game. To go hunting for mushrooms like this glowing one, to collect them and return them either to the Jarl or to a vendor to sell, or you can eat them. Everything will have an effect. Put the daytime back on. turn the rain off. And I'll show you the damage from falling. So if I jump here, you'll see at the top left it said a small ouch, and even when I just normally jump, that's why I need to fix up the time delay for jumping, because I don't want you being injured. For 5 health every time you just jump. And if I were to find a larger cliff, you can do a lot more damage, but I won't worry about that at the moment. You can see the health bar going down there. I haven't added a death state yet, so when health reaches 0, that doesn't mean anything. I'll keep it that way for a little while, just so I can test out all these functions properly. Now let's punch a chicken. But I can catch it. Don't have much stamina left. First person might be better. The chicken is underneath my sphere traits, so that's something I'll need to fix. The reason I can't punch it, it's too low. Hunger won't show up for a while, as mentioned, doesn't show until you've hit 66 hunger. I will make it so you can see all your stats if you just open a menu, character menu. You don't have to wait for them to fade in. And I might make it an option you can have them permanently on if you're that sort of a player as well. Good to give the player as many options as you can. Turn the light off again just to see that sprite buzzing around. Just see how it affects the forest and lights it up. And some coloured ones, green or blue, would be cool as well, I think. The white one, the reason I've kept it white is I intend it to match the lights, the little blue sparkles in the lamp here. So if we could get close to one, you'll see inside that ball of light are those exact blue sparkles. Just to infer that that is what is powering our lamp here. It's one of those sprites. It's been captured and put into the lamp, and that'll be a quest. So the landscape is looking better now. I've roughened it up a little bit. The rain is looking better. I have cleared out some fog. I need to bring a little bit more back in, just find the right balance for visibility and fogginess. The lamps all working fine. Hunger, health, stamina are all good and functioning as is. I've begun a damage and fighting system. It's all going quite well. Moving ahead. Lots and lots more to do. I suspect there'll be another year's worth of these sort of dev logs before the game can be finished or released, but it's good to be forging forward and figuring these things out. If I step to this fire, you'll see my health go down quite rapidly, because I have put that as an experiment. So if you were to be on top of a fire, you'll burn yourself. Okay, I think that'll do for now. Then I've got a feeling there's a little bit more about it that I forgot to talk about. That is fine. Plenty more to see and do. Okay, thanks for watching.